Before we start the podcast, a big shout out to our sponsors and partners, Gym Pro Apparel. They're making waves in the health and fitness industry at the moment. They've got some great gym wear for men and women, so be sure to check them out in the link below. Right, let's get cracking with the episode. Aaron Bowen, welcome to Below the Belt podcast. How are you doing, mate?
Very well, thank you, mate. Are you?
Yeah, all good, mate, all good. So, you're a Commonwealth bronze medalist boxer. You've just turned professional, probably not too long ago, with Matchroom and Eddie Hearn. Obviously, you've got a fight coming up at the end of November. But let's take it right back to the beginning first. Tell me where boxing started for you. Why did you first walk into a gym? I know your amateur gym was Triumph Amateur Boxing Club. So just tell me a little bit about that.
Well, I started boxing at 13. I was a shy kid. I just a quiet kid, had a lot of energy, just football mad. Did every sort of sport. Mum and dad tried to push me into it. Started at 13, started at Coventry Boys, where you started.
Yeah. Who was your coach at that point?
Dennis Young.
So Dennis Young was your coach?
Yeah, Dennis. So, you know, well-schooled gym. Dennis, a well-schooled coach. It was, started there, lost my first fight.
Okay.
But the buzz I got from that first fight was just...
That's interesting that it didn't deter you, though.
Yeah, I mean, I'd come out of the fight as if I'd won, you know.
Yeah.
I think just seeing the buzz from everyone else was a buzz for me, and just got that addiction to it. And so lost my first fight. Moved then to the Triumph. Head coach Dinesh, Darren Bendel. You know, heard a lot about the Triumph, a great gym, and just really found my energy into boxing. And from then on, it was just all boxing. 14 to now, it's all been boxing. And in a bad way, school was forgotten about.
Yeah.
You know,
You were just tunnel visioned, right?
100%.
At what point did you know that boxing was becoming more than a hobby?
Well, I went in my first championships at 16. Yeah, about 16, I thought, won that first championships. Gave every boy a count in the fight.
Wow.
You know, really won that well, like nearly knocked every single one of them out. So,
Did you just carry natural power then, do you think?
yeah, I'd say so.
Yeah.
Nah, but, I just had raw aggression, just a determination. I think that stemmed from my childhood and fighting with my brother as we were kids, and just since a kid, just determined to win at everything. PlayStation games, you know, first one up the stairs. I just wanted to win everything, still do.
What were your parents' thoughts on you boxing and taking it seriously? Like you said, putting education on the back foot. What was their thoughts on it? Did they like what you were doing and being so tunnel vision?
I think so, yeah. I think I was the quietest out of my family. I was a very shy kid, like I said, and I think maybe they were a bit worried at the start, didn't think it was for me.
I think it's common for a lot of people who get into boxing. Right? That's the first reason. I know that exactly resonates with me. I was so quiet, so shy, and my dad did it to get me out my shell a little bit, right?
And that's where I think they just let me carry on with it. You know, seeing I was a shy kid, but in a boxing ring, not I was the loudest in the room, but I really shined bright, and they were surprised by it, I think. And I suppose it was good because they seen, you know, I'd constantly get bad reports from teachers, talking, distracted. But in the boxing gym, I was the hardest worker, and I'd come out of the gym dripping with sweat, red face, you know. I'd want to be there early, want to do more at the weekend. So they never told me, but I think they were happy with what they could see from my boxing. So yeah, I really channeled my energy into it, and I haven't looked back since.
No, that's amazing. Because I think if there's one thing that I've seen, especially on social media, obviously you've got your home gym, right? I know there's a link up with you and Shiney at Box Smart Elite, but I've seen you boxing anywhere and everywhere in your own time at the gyms, and you're in the gym kind of 24/7, right? You seem to have a real kind of passion for this sport. So that must, like you said, it looks like it come from a very young age, right? And obviously you touched on Coventry Boys, and we were just talking before the podcast, which is absolutely hilarious that I think we may have actually crossed paths at Cov Boys, right? Both had the same coach. I think at the point you joined, I think I may have been there. Or I may have just left, which is kind of hilarious because we know a couple of the same lads that were there, same coaches. So it just shows what a small world it is.
Seeing you boys when I first started, you know, in every club I went to, seeing the older boys, you know, in the England vest, and you know, you boys sparring, and never shied away from that. Always thought, I want to be in there, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
So
yeah.
I've always used people as role models or
really good,
influences, like, and it was, and now I can be the influence to a younger kid from Coventry. So that's why I like to train in different gyms and spar different lads. I'll spar someone who's had one fight or 100 fights.
That's awesome. I like that. Yeah.
You know, because if they're a little bit worried to spar, not me, but, you know, because of what I've
you don't
won
look
and
at
stuff.
anyone like they're lesser than you.
No.
No, that's admirable.
And I would have jumped in with you guys when you know. And
I'm glad you didn't. I'm glad you didn't.
I was coming for you, I was. But I think, like, I learned and I appreciated all the older boys, without you even knowing I was watching and just admiring. So when I'm sparring a kid or a
Do you enjoy
sparring? I'd blank training and just spar every day.
That's strange. A lot of people obviously have a bit of a reluctance when it comes down to the sparring, or they like to minimise it. And even like you said, from a young age, like you really used to that. Probably want to make you get in there more, if anything. But I know, especially at a young age, a lot of kids, especially if you're a shy kid, you kind of stay away from conflict and you're not too big on the sparring. But for you, it was the complete opposite, right?
Yeah, because put me in a room where we've got to argue.
Yeah,
I'm losing to anyone.
Yeah,
I'm not conflict. I'm not like that.
Yeah,
I wasn't confident in the gym. I wasn't chatty, but I felt I could show myself or get respect in the ring.
Do you think that's your personality that comes out in your fighting style then, that aggressive fighting style?
Yeah, I'd say so. I feel.
Is that a switch then that you can turn on and off?
There must be, but I don't feel like, right, go time. I understand what I have to do. You got a chance when you get through the ropes, you got a few seconds to, I understand what's needed, and it's a serious sport, but outside of the ring or even in a gym, I'm just not confrontational. I'm just not, I'd stuck to my words. I'm not.
I don't think you need to be though, right?
No,
with who you are, I think your credentials and who you are as a person, I think speak for themselves, right? You don't need to go around kind of throwing your weight about or whatnot. I think when it comes to Aaron Bowen now, I think
and we were brought up on respect and manners.
Yeah.
And your hard work shows your talent. So I've really kept that, and being a shy kid, I just wanted to show people like I could be in a cocky way better, or I just wanted to prove myself.
I like that. Self-belief.
Self-belief, without talking, because I can't seem to talk like that. But I'm fine with that, which is why I work so hard in the gym to show my results in the ring.
No, that's awesome, mate. And as for the talking, you're coming across like a natural now, so I won't worry too much about that. But let's talk about the amateur side of the game, because I know you had a really good amateur career. How many fights did you end up having in the end as an amateur?
I think it was 82.
82.
I think somewhere around 82.
So you crammed in a hell of a lot of fights, right?
And it was, from my fourth fight, it was championships. And then every year after that, every fight after that was just championships.
Ah, okay.
And I got to the final of the Nationals 3 times. I won it 3 times.
Oh, wow.
And then I won the 3 Nations twice. So from 16 to 2 years, just constant championships and getting to the final, meaning I had 5-6 fights, maybe more every time.
Yeah.
So in the short space,
so you were fighting on the bounce constantly,
against good opposition. So sort of moved quickly. Like you said, I was a late starter, but constant championships and constant getting to the final and winning. Really got a load of good fights in, and I'm so glad I did it that way. So I tell kids,
definitely.
get in the championships. You know, you might lose, but
best way to get experience, right, against good opponents.
100%.
Who would you say your toughest opponent was in the UK and internationally? Because obviously you've boxed abroad for England, right, as well.
Yeah, tough question. You know, have you heard of Ramtin Musa?
I haven't, no.
No, he's a GB boxer.
Okay.
We boxed in the finals of the ABAs.
Okay.
Great fight.
Yeah.
Just remember that being a tough fight. I hadn't faced someone with as much pressure.
Do you like fighting on the front foot or the back foot?
I prefer the front foot.
Yeah.
I'm with Shiney. It's helped me on the back foot.
Yeah.
And that was a good link. But
so you like to bang, right?
I like to
dominate
stand
the centre
and
of the
fight
ring
as well. So. And then there's another guy, Omar Augustin. I boxed him 3 times. He won twice. And I won the final time in the final of the ABA. So,
wow.
but they call him the Terminator or something.
Yeah.
Because he's just non-stop punching and just a horrible man to fight. Just throws 10 at a time. So that was probably, I'd say that Omar Augustin was probably my toughest fight.
Let's talk about the Commonwealth Games, which was obviously huge, right? And especially for yourself, managed to make it to a bronze medal. Tell me a little bit about that whole experience and what you learned from it. And you must be proud, right, coming away with a bronze medal.
It was massive, you know. When I got the call to say you've got the spot, it was just the maddest feeling. Like phoning my mum and dad, telling them, it was just crazy. Just like from a kid watching people on the Commonwealth Games, I always believed I could get there, or always wanted to get there. But there's part of the disbelief that, will I get there? You know, it seems so far away. And then got the call to say you're going to be in the Commonwealth Games in Birmingham, your home, like my hometown.
What was your first reaction?
Just mental, just near, like...
Where were you when you first found out?
I was taking the dog out, and I didn't think I was going to get it. You know, there was 6 of us or 5 of us getting the call for who's getting the spot, and just, you know, didn't think I'd get it. And I'd won 3 gold medals before that for GB, so I was on a good run. I just remember about to take the dog out. It was about 8 to 10 weeks before, and I hadn't heard much, and I just thought, I'm not going to get this. And that would have really upset me, but got the call. I remember seeing the call, and I'm like, oh shit, here we go. I'm like, I got the call, and just like almost disbelief, you know, just like can't explain the feeling, but almost out of body, like felt like I was going to faint, you know. Getting that call, you're going to be in the Commonwealth Games, and just couldn't wait to tell everyone, tell my friends and family, you know, all that hard work has paid off, and all them years of losing and winning and losing and just meant everything to me, and calling my mum and dad, and they're like crying. It was just like
over the moon,
a mental feeling that I didn't appreciate at the time, and now I look back, it's such a nice feeling that even just getting that call was amazing. And then I remember that night I got the call, they were like, don't train too hard, like you've got a whole... I just went out and run. I think it was like hit a PB and everything. Just like, I'm going to win. So it's such a good feeling, and being in Birmingham, it couldn't have been better. And it's great.
Sometimes I think it's nice to have those moments when you're putting in a lot of the hard work. And like you said, there's a lot of ups and downs along the journey that a lot of people don't see, right? A lot of hurdles to overcome. But I think that's why boxing, even for me, is such a great sport. I had to overcome my fair share of losses. But I think, if anything, sometimes the losses are more important because they can be so character building, right? And then it makes you appreciate when you get to those milestones. So, I can imagine what a moment that must have been. And I actually remember watching you in the Commonwealth Games, and you had Shiney in the background going absolutely mental. But tell me a little bit about that link up with Shiney, who obviously just had on the podcast, because obviously he's building quite a name at Box Smart Elite, the gym itself, building a name of producing a lot of champions and well-respected boxers. How did that link up happen with Shiney?
I met Shiney on an England programme, and I was at the Triumph, and just before, during lockdown, I just wanted to change my way, and I'd won 5 national titles at that point as a youth. Seeing Shiney's coaching methods, and I just thought that I'd like a bit of that. I like a bit of the style.
Okay.
I was very raw. I could fight. I could stand and fight. Not much head movement, you know. That was my style, is banging and fighting. So in lockdown, started training with Shiney. You know, we started in his back garden.
Okay.
So he wasn't training.
Is that where it started?
Yeah,
right?
all in the back garden at Shiney's house. So
okay.
Remember, just first session, 2 sessions, just it killed me. Like the way he was drilling me. I was sweating. I was knackered. Like I'd just won everything. And then to do 2 rounds on the pads with Shiney, I was like blowing, couldn't finish the round and stuff. So like most people might have said, nah, that ain't for me. But I just thought that's got to be doing me good. There's something to gain from this. And then it just went from there. We're in his back garden for the whole of lockdown, you know, just training every day, and just really gelled with his style. And then went on to box for Shiney, and you know, went on to win 2 ABA. I won a senior ABA title and got best boxer. And
Oh, okay, so you were with him in the amateurs
Yeah,
as well.
for the
Okay.
ABAs, yeah.
It must have been a frustrating time though during COVID, right?
Yeah, it was a weird time. I didn't really know what was going on. I was training in this garden, but we didn't really have an end result. But I was just trying to better myself every day, and
Yeah,
I'm glad I made that move, and he's grown
definitely.
strength to strength, and so have I. So
Yeah.
I'm using his skills and his methods to grow me, but alongside that, his gym's growing as well, and I think
Yeah.
people are recognising the work he does. So it's
No,
good.
that's awesome. And he's told me about some of your great sparring sessions with the likes of Elliot,
Yeah.
Elliot Whale. So
Yeah.
I think you guys have some great rounds up there as well. Like I said, I think when you're surrounded by such great boxers and great talent, it can only rub off on each other, right?
Yeah.
And it can only be good for you.
100%. I mean, GB, they get a lot of results because you've got 3 or 4 of you at the weight. Shinies is the same. You go in the gym, there's talent from 30 kilo up to 100 kilo. Everyone's talented, and there's good lads, and I've never been shy of sparring there. So it's really brought me on the gym, the coach, and the other coach he's got. It's a real booming gym at the minute. It has been since he first opened his gym.
Yeah.
So I'm grateful for the setup he's got, and he puts a lot of time in as well. So
He does. He definitely
yeah,
does.
and
Yeah.
I'll match that. I'll not match him, but he knows I put the
Yeah,
work in.
you'll put everything
So
into it.
it's good to see he's just as committed as I am, which is nice.
Yeah, no, that's awesome. And yeah, obviously you're just talking about weights there. That just brings me back to what we spoke about before the podcast when we were just chatting outside. I couldn't believe it because how tall are you? You're about 6'2",
Yeah,
6'3"?
6'2", 6'2.5". Yeah.
Yeah, so you're a big lad. You're not too slip. You're quite big boned
yeah.
as well. Like you got a wide frame to you.
Yeah.
And I thought you'd be about fighting at about late 70s, 80 kilos, but you said to me you fight at 72 kilos. That's incredible for someone of your type. So you must really have to trim down. Like you said, you're walking around now at what, 80 kg?
Yeah. So doing middleweight as a pro was light heavy as an amateur.
Yeah.
But amateurs, you weigh in, you box later
It's
that
different,
day.
right? Yeah.
You know, and the next weight was 75. I would have been tight at that.
Yeah.
So I just thought I'll go in at what I am.
Yeah.
And I felt all right at light heavyweight.
Yeah.
And eventually I probably will grow to a light heavyweight.
Yeah. You're finding it manageable at the minute though, making the weight.
Got a great team at Coventry University. They do the
great.
nutrition and the conditioning, and they're testing my body every week for body fats and how much fluids, like all the science behind
All the
it.
science behind
So
it, yeah.
when they say I can't make it anymore, we'll move up. But
Yeah.
they're saying, look, you can make it good and use your height and your size for your advantage.
Yeah.
You know, I could box at super middleweight, but I haven't fully filled out as a man strength yet, I would say, you know.
You're still 25,
Yeah,
right?
still young.
You've got time. I think you'll know naturally when's the right time to move
You'll
up.
fill out a bit and stuff. So
Yeah.
middleweights, I'm making it comfortably. I'm feeling good, and if I've got the size advantage, use it. You know,
Yeah.
and middleweight's such a good division. You know, some big fights to be made, and
Yeah, definitely.
in the next year or two, you know, domestically, and then God willing, we get to the world stages.
Yeah.
There's even bigger fights there, and middleweight's such a booming division.
So just taking it back a step then, was it always in your mind to go professional when you're in the amateur ranks? At what point did you think, all right, I want to carry this on to the professionals?
It was after the Commonwealth Games. Luckily, Eddie Hearn was watching my fight against India.
Yeah.
And it was a great fight, I think.
That was a great fight.
Great
yeah.
fight. And the noise, you know,
Good
I could hear
as
it
well.
in the ring.
Yeah.
And there must have been 600-700 from Coventry.
You carry some big crowds as well, don't you? Yeah.
So he's obviously seen that. And the atmosphere, it was unreal. Like, one I'll never forget. And he watched that. And then the Welsh fight, the next fight, was another great fight. I don't know whether he watched that, but I know about 15, 20 of my mates were seeing him outside the car park at the Resorts World. And we're like, sorry, like, there's only one Aaron Bowen and all this. And
Fucking sign him now.
He said they nearly picked his Rolls Royce up. So just stuff like that. He must have got a bit of an interest then and said, look, when he's ready to turn pro, we'll have a chat. And that was enough for me to sway my mind. And really, I wanted the amateur route. I'd have loved to have gone the Olympics. But there was 7 or 8 of us going for it.
Yeah.
You had to wait 2 years to get your spot. I didn't want to miss that opportunity of turning pro with Eddie Hearn, who I've watched since I can remember.
Or risk not getting to the Olympics.
Exactly. I would have loved the Olympics. if you can get there, it's the pinnacle of the sport, and to even just represent your country at the Olympics. But got the sort of inkling he was interested, so I had the chat, and I was just ready to go then. I just really wanted to.
So how did that even work? I'm always interested in how these conversations even come to play out. So did he just drop you a number and be like, yeah, give me a call when you're ready?
It's quite straightforward, just, But someone got in touch with my coach, just said, when you're interested, let's have a chat.
Yeah.
We had a chat, said, go speak to other people, see what you want to do. I just stayed with Eddie. I wanted Eddie from the start. I wanted Matchroom, just to be a Matchroom fighter. So it was quite straightforward, and the deal was done very quick, and it was that was another great, getting the call for the Commonwealth, getting the call off Eddie Hearn. It's just like pinch yourself moments, you know what I mean? Like, so
without a doubt, some nice milestone moments there, right?
Ones that I'm probably not appreciating now, but when I look back, it's going to be a proud life to look back on.
I think you're too much in a mode of you've got shit to get done, right? You can't really sit and enjoy too much of the moment because you've still got a lot of work to do, right? 100%. But that'll be a hell of a ride to look back on, I think, as time goes on. But obviously you turned professional. You've had 3 fights now, won 2 by knockout. So a very good start, and against some tricky opponents, especially your last one that I think even Shiney said may have been coming a little bit early. But one thing that I really admire that he said that you had said to him was, no, I want to take this fight because if I can't beat someone like that at this stage, that shows that I shouldn't be in this sport for the long haul kind of thing. So if I can't beat this type of opponent now, I'd rather know now. Yeah. So that was really admirable that you took a really tough fight. I think was it in your 3rd fight?
Yeah, 3rd one, yeah.
And did you blew him up? You blew him away,
Second
didn't you?
round,
Second round. Was that the body shot?
That's
was
the
it?
one, yeah.
Where
he was half down, sort of hit him.
Yeah.
Like, it was a bit controversial, but like you say, he was 6-0. He won 6, knocked 5 out, and lost 1. So
he could have been a real banana skin fight, couldn't he?
And he was strong. He come out, punch big shots from the 1st round, and I thought, fucking hell, he hits. And then I hit him to the head 3 times, like 3 big jabs in the 1st round. Didn't really land much else. I was just biding my time, seeing it out for the 1st round because he was coming big. So I've hit him 3 times, and he didn't budge at all. He was really coming to knock me out, which is good for me, good for my progression. But I thought, he ain't going nowhere. So I touched him around the body, just thought, like, let's see what we get here. And then luckily he went down, so it was a good win. But Matchroom are known to match you harder.
Okay.
But for me, that's better. I've had such a long amateur career at top level.
You're ready for it.
I'm ready for it. Why drop the levels? If I'm good enough, I'll get there. If I'm not, I'm not. I wanna win titles. I wanna win everything. So why drop the levels now? If obviously don't jump too quick. Don't be fighting Chris Eubank in your 4th fight. But at the good step ups each time. Yeah. Like, even after this layoff, I want Shiney's like, we'll get you nice and get back into it. And I understand that, appreciate that, but I also want to climb the ladders. I want to prove I'm the best. Yeah. And I want to beat people that are worthy of beating. So that's the mindset.
Sounds like a perfect mindset to have, because I know nowadays boxers can be very protective of their own, right? And they're very hesitant to take that step up and take that risk. And it is sometimes about picking the right moment, right? Like you said, not going too fast too soon, but at the same time, you don't want any walkovers. You want to test yourself as well. So that can only be good. And talking about testing yourself, one of the other things that I saw was that you've really tested yourself against some elite level kind of opponents in sparring as well, right? Did I see that you've been sparring the likes of Callum Smith as well, world champion?
Yeah. So I've had years of good sparring. Yeah. And years on GB with the top sparring at your weight, and then I've sparred Callum Smith. I've regular sparring with Zach Parker, who's on the cusp of world titles. Yeah. And there's talks of him fighting Canelo, so Tyler Denny, who's just won a European and then just boxed Hamza Shiraz. So, and the list goes on, I could sit here all day and talk about this person, that person, and you're testing yourself in the gym against these top boys. and you're mixing it with them. So when it's fight night,
you know that you can hold yourself.
You know, I'm doing 6-8 rounds with them boys. When you're in the ring, you should be using that skill. You know, so great sparring, and sparring is massive for me. I love it, and it brings me on so much. And you know, just today been sparring Taylor Bevan, who boxed in the Commonwealth.
I saw that.
Ryan Kelly.
He was a silver Commonwealth.
He beat me in the Commonwealth. So you know, competitive rounds, and it's only going to bring us both on, and especially for me, it's got to be selfish. So it's going to bring me on massively. And I look, you know, Shiney's good. He'll get me the right sparring, the right camp, so I peak nicely. And so I'm appreciating all the sparring I've got, and it's good to see where you're at. You know what I mean?
Yeah, without that, and without obviously going into too much detail, someone like Callum Smith, that's obviously someone who's been right at the pinnacle of his sport. How did you hold yourself, do you think, against that? Did you thrive on those kind of...
I'd say that spar I was quite nervous, because every clip of Callum Smith is just sparking people out.
Body shots, left hooks.
Just everything. So I was a bit wary that spar. Maybe didn't give him off a true personality of style. Yeah. Because, you know, he's the first person I've sparred that is absolutely blasting everyone out there. Yeah. He's probably been the best sparring partner, you know.
Maybe that's the time, though, I think, which is why it's so good to have those sparring sessions where you do maybe sometimes get caught a little bit in the headlights, but it's better to happen in sparring, reflect, I didn't really show my true personality there because I was maybe a little bit too nervous, but then at least you can reflect on that for the time you do have to make that step 100%. Up and it doesn't happen there, right? So that's quite interesting.
It's exactly that, because if I'd have went in there all cocky, he could have walked me onto anything. Yeah. Don't get me wrong, I was still throwing my shots. It was good rounds, but I left thinking I could have done that a little bit more. But like you say, sometimes it's good to be wary and be. I kept a mature head about me because I wanted to box. I wanted to show my skill. But I'm learning now, even if it's Callum Smith or anyone, you gotta assert your style. But I was younger then. I was probably 18, 19.
Oh, okay, so you were quite young,
and he's at the peak of his career. So, but great experience, and I've learned more from that than some fights. You know what I mean? Yeah. So you can't buy that experience, can you?
No, 100%. What would you say your style is as a boxer? Would you say it is? Would you say boxer, brawler, back foot, front foot? You said you prefer being front foot, right? But Shiney's got you to learn to fight on the back foot as well.
I'd say it's a bit stereotypical, but box fighter, I like to box. Yeah. And I like to have a little go as well. Okay. You know, I like to stand and bang. Yeah. My favourite style of fighting is standing, having it. Yeah. Take two, give two.
I noticed that in the Commonwealth. Yeah. Even the fight against India, I think you mixed it up there as well, didn't you? Yeah.
And that's what I love, but obviously you got a long career. Don't want to cut or don't want to get knocked out. Yeah. So you've got to be careful. You've got to
so know the moments when you mix it up.
You can't just fight everyone, but if it was up to me, if I had one fight left, it would just be a stand and bang, you know. I do inspire, and Shiney's always like, no, what are we doing? Because if I get hit, I'm like, come, let's just go. And
I like that you can do both. I love it. I think that's good you've got a coach like Shiney there, whose boxing IQ is obviously very high, right? Yeah. So he's got the kind of boxing fundamentals, but there's always going to come a point where you've got, in boxing, I think, where you've got to stand there and you have got to bang at times, right? So, and it's good that just comes naturally to you.
Yeah, you've got to, that's why he's good, because he'll tell me, like, back off a bit. Yeah. The core me can stand and fight and just take shots, give shots. But it's important to box, and it's an art, and there's more ways to skin a cat. So, but I think that's a fan-friendly style, you know. I can box, I can tidily box. But if I get clipped, I can dig back. And sort of watched Carl Froch a lot when I was younger, you know.
Loved his fights.
Loved it, you know, just quality, and just all action, and he could take a punch, give one back, and that's the sort of style I like to sort of go with.
One hell of a chin on him as well.
Yeah, so...
Which is just... but this is the thing, right? You don't want to find out whether you got a granite chin or not. If anything, just try and keep away from them. But one of the questions I wanted to ask you, obviously, you've been into many big fights in the amateurs, and obviously you're fighting in the pro game now. There's more and more eyes that are being put on you, and you've got a big crowd, a big following when you go to each of your fights. One, how do you deal with the pressure? And two, how big do you think the mental side of the game is when it comes to boxing?
That's a good question. I think dealing with the pressure is just through experience and, boxing all them championships. The stakes are higher each time. The England coaches are there. Then as you get to a senior, the GB coaches, so little bits of pressure added there.
Yeah.
And then the Commonwealth Games are such a great, I think not many get to do, and I think it can really boost your confidence because there was 3,000-4,000 watching
Yeah.
your home country. There's probably hundreds of thousands watching on the TV. Nearly 1,000 from Coventry there, so you can't get much pressure than that. Do you know what I mean? So that really helped my mental side of it. Knowing now I've dealt with the big crowds.
Yeah.
It's a hard one. I don't really know how I deal with it. I just sort of deal with it.
Take it in your stride by the sounds of it. Yeah.
Just like I'm relaxed before a fight. Like I'll have a sleep before a fight. I remember my granddad laughing. He says, "Well, were you doing this and that?" So I just had a little nap. Half an hour before my ABA final. Like I'm just quite calm about it. It's just I know what to do. I know once the ring walk and stuff, then it's go time. But before that, I'm calm, I'm cool, I'm collected. So how do I deal with it? It's a tough question. Just
sounds like you just take it in your stride, mate. And I like it though because you don't get too high with the highs and you don't get too low with the lows, right? You just take it in your stride, keep kind of plodding along, going forwards. Next goal, next fight.
One goal at a time. And
definitely.
It was always, if my dad drilled it into me, it's one step at a time. I want to be a national champion. Yeah, but you got to win the Midlands semi-final first.
Yeah.
I want to be a world champion. Yeah, but you've got to have your fourth fight. So it was very drilled into me to keep your feet on the ground and one step at a time and little goals. I'd love to be a unified world champion, sell out Coventry Arena. I'd love to do that, and I believe I can do, but I have to set little goals first. Get this fight. Don't focus on that.
Yeah,
that's the ultimate goal. But focus on one fight at a time, each day at a time, and try to be better every day.
It's very
that's
sensible.
How I sort of roll. That's sort of how I do with it.
No, definitely.
So I feel like that helps me, and just take it in my stride, and I know that I've put the hard work in. So when I'm walking to the ring, I know I'm fit. I know I'm strong. Just before I'm about to fight, I get my last little instructions. So it's just a good team around me, and I've learned to just deal with the pressure now. So
that's good, mate. Got a better answer than that. So no, that's good. Obviously, your next fight is on November the 30th at Resorts World, right?
Yeah.
You've actually had some time out of the ring, right? Because I think we were even going to do this podcast a little bit earlier, but I think you suffered an injury. Has it been about a year out of the ring, would you say?
15 months,
15 months.
Yeah, 15
so
months.
that must have been quite difficult, again, on the mental side to deal with that time out of the ring. How did you deal with that?
That was tough, because I'd boxed for the last 10 years back to back. Never a little week holiday here. You're straight back. You're fighting in 3 weeks. So training 2-3 times a day for the last 10 years. So to then get a scan, you need surgery. No training at all after the surgery. Complete nothing for 6 months. It's quite a serious hip injury that I couldn't carry on boxing unless I got it done. I was going into my last fight against the man who was knocking people out, and I'm hobbling. Could hardly do pads before the fight.
Oh, really? So you went in there nowhere near 100%?
Nowhere near.
And you still blew him away, though?
Yeah, thank God. Luckily. Sparring up to that fight, I was just hobbling around, having to tell sparring partners, hold on, we're going to need a round off here.
Yeah.
Because it was something to do with the nerves, and it wasn't just a niggle.
It was in the hip, did you say?
Yeah, in the hip, in the rotator of the hip. So
do you know what caused it, or?
We don't know. I had it for probably 2 years. Yeah. Just after the Commonwealth Games, it got noticeably bad. But leading up to the Commonwealth Games, it was always there, but nothing where I'd have to stop the spar or anything. But as soon as I turned professional from my debut, the camp up to that, it was constant, like, after sparring, couldn't
Getting
shadow
harder
box.
to ignore.
Just like And Shiney's worrying because you don't want to go into a fight with an injury. So
especially against a tough opponent like you did. I bet
so
he was.
We've got 10 rounds, 12 rounds hopefully coming up. So
Yeah.
you've got to be 100%. It's the wrong sport to be injured, and
Yeah.
probably should have got it done sooner. But as a boxer and as an athlete, you just carry on. You just push through it, don't you?
Yeah.
So got the scan, needed surgery. You know, I was just on a roll as well, 3-0. So things were starting to look good, and then it was just like, nope, you're done. So 6 months, no training, literally just bed bound and rehab, and
Wow, really?
so it was real mental.
So no
tough.
training at all
Nah,
for
nothing,
6 months?
No training at all.
Wow.
Not
That
even
must
allowed
have
to
been
run.
mentally.
Nothing.
That must have been tough.
I just felt like I was finished. I felt like I had.
I could tell when you responded to me about the podcast. I could tell he seems down here.
Something weren't
Like,
right.
I was hoping that it wasn't nothing too serious.
And you seeing people out the street. How's your boxing going? You sort of have to. Yeah, good, mate. I just.
You have to put on a brave face, right?
But I didn't want to talk about it. I didn't want to. Didn't really want to leave the house, to be honest. Even like seeing family and stuff like that, it was hard. It was just a bad time in my life.
That's what you're known for, right? You're Aaron Bowen, the superstar boxer, and so everyone's going to be asking, when's your next fight? How's training? And you got to listen to all that while you're
no answers to it. You know what I mean?
It must have been tough.
It was tough, and luckily I got good family, and I did a bit of work, you know, which really helped.
Keep yourself busy.
Distracted me from it. And, but, you know, for 3-4 months, it was nothing. Could barely even walk. Like, I was still on crutches for a long time. So, real strange time in my life. And I never thought I'd get back to training. I just never ever thought I'd get back here. And I knew I would eventually, but it doesn't feel real till you're here. So, it was a real bad time, but just glad to be back now and glad to actually be recovered. It's so much better.
Was the surgery like completely successful? Are you fit, free of injury,
100%,
ready to go?
Yeah, ready to go. It's so much better now.
Yeah.
And even after 15 months out, my sparring's so much better than before. I can roll now. No pain at all, and I can just spar and go run later. Like there's no injury now, and it's so nice. And I was lucky that that my dad helped me and sort that out, because this would have been career ending. So I'm very lucky, and I won't waste this opportunity now. And it's helped me though, because after training now, I'm stretching, I'm warming up before. Really, I'm not old, but as you get that little bit older,
year by year, you have to look after yourself.
And when I was 18, I'd just get up, go, no stretching. So it's woke me up in that sense, and using it as lessons of I've got to look after my body, my food, my sleep, everything's so important now. Whereas I might have neglected that a little bit before. So
it just shows you as well, like when you look at certain athletes who do look after themselves and their longevity. Like you look at someone like Cristiano Ronaldo, he's a prime example of it. Right? He's still going, still performs really at a top level. And what is he, pushing 40 now, or he is 40? Like,
still at top of his
which just shows you, if you do look after yourself, it may be a boring life to some, but there's a big reward at the end of it, right? If you can kind of get that longevity and look after yourself in the right way. So no, that's great to hear that. And sometimes we think that things happen, like, why is this happening to me? Why is this injury happening? But sometimes things happen and you don't understand it in the moment, but maybe the reason was to kind of tell you to slow down, look after yourself a bit more, because this will prolong your career in the long run, right? 100%. Someone like Carl Froch, who you mentioned, he went on till I think his mid-30s, was it? I think so. He had a good. Like, so there's times I thought he was finished, to be honest. And then he came back and knocked out. Was it Lucian Butte? Was it?
Then
went on and
just carried on,
which was
a bit to be 39, isn't he?
Yeah, 39,
champion, unified. So.
Which is crazy. So you can tell, like, with these boxers, because what I've noticed is with boxers, I think their shelf life used to be till about 33, and you'd see them starting then to dip. But now it's getting older and older, which is a good thing for boxers, right? Yeah. Because a good thing in the sense of, listen, you've got your money to make in the sport as well. You've got your legacy to build. Yeah. The more time you've got to do that, the better. Yeah, so that's definitely a good thing. So tell us about the fight on the 30th then. Who are you fighting? What type of performance are you hoping for? How many rounds are you doing?
Got a 6-rounder. I'm not sure on the opponent. We're still I don't really get a say. Well, I do, but I'm just anyone. Whoever Shiney thinks.
You just want someone to blast away, take your 15 months
frustration
frustration out.
Yeah, someone's getting it.
Yeah.
I'm looking to put on a good performance, of course, but I've got to knock this guy out. You know, I've got to put my name back on the middleweight map.
Yeah.
You know, I've sat on the sideline for 15 months while everyone's pushed forward, so I'm at the back of the ladder, deservedly. You know, when you're not acting, you're not performing. Sorry. So I've got to knock this guy out with skill. Yeah. You know, I'm not going to go looking for it crazy, but I have to put on a good performance.
Yeah.
But I like the challenge of 15 months out. A challenge is good. I'm up every morning running, picturing a big performance. So you know,
visualization, right?
You know, and it's positive for me. This is what fuels me. This is what keeps me out of trouble. Getting up every morning, and you know, the night's going to be great for everyone watching, and it's going to be a big night and a great card to be on. So I have to put in a good performance, but this is what I want. This is what I want. Challenges, and I'm not just training to, you know, win and you know, see what's next. It's all about the 30th, and I have to look good, and I want people to go, shit, he's back. Like, let's, you know, the city will get behind me, and I can move up in eddies, you know, middleweights, and so a big challenge, and that's why I want a good opponent. I want to box for titles, English, British, want to do it all. So get me a good opponent, and we'll climb the ladder.
Yeah. No, that's awesome. I think if anyone's capable of it, I think you are, mate. And yeah, like I said, I can imagine that 15 months was, it must have been difficult to get through, right? Especially when sometimes you don't see the light at the end of the tunnel. Yeah. But yeah, no, I'm even more so now looking forward to your fight at the end of this month, and I'm sure it'll be a good one. But obviously we're coming to the end of the year now as well. And going into 2025, what are some of your goals in 2025? Is it just to build momentum now, get a few more professional fights under your belt, or are you already eyeing up those titles?
I'm eyeing them up, but whatever, I'm under a great Matchroom banner. You know, they know they've done this, Eddie Hearn and Frank Smith, they've done this for the last 10, 15 years. I've got a manager and Shiney who will protect me. They're the promoter, Eddie and Frank, they'll direct me. So for me, I've just got to train hard.
Yeah,
live the life. On the training. Yeah, and whatever will be, will be. Yeah, I've got goals, I've got routes I would like to take, but I know that Eddie, being a businessman and a promoter, he'll do what's best for me and for him. And it's Frotch, Joshua, I mean, the list is endless, so I'm in good hands. I've just got, it's not, you know, if I start calling out this guy, that guy, I could be doing it wrong. So with Shiney protecting me in a way, you know, he's got my best interest. I let them do that side of it, you know. I believe I could be a big marketable figure, you know, commentary, sell a lot of tickets, exciting fighting style. I think I could make Eddie a lot of money, and there should be some big nights.
Sure, you can sell out the CBS arena one day.
So he will know what to do on that side. Yeah. So whatever he deems necessary, I'll be ready. Yeah. You know, I'll train hard. I'll be ready to fight. So it's such an exciting few years ahead, providing everything goes well. And I know things can happen, and you lose, and it might not. But we train to win, and you know, I used to dream of winning a national title. Then I won that. I used to then want to be an England representative. Won that. Then I wanted to, the list goes on, wanted to Commonwealth Games. So now with Matchroom, and I'm a professional boxer, I've achieved. So now it's to the next goals, which is get a title, whatever that may be. Yeah. Like I said, I'll let them do that, but one step at a time. And
one fight at a time.
Yeah, and it's so exciting, you know. I'm very lucky to be in this position, but I've also worked for it, so long may it continue, mate. And I can't wait to push on and achieve my dreams and some big nights for the city.
Yeah, no, that's awesome, mate. And yeah, no, I'm looking forward to those big nights as well. And again, I think you are one of a couple of very talented boxers coming out of Coventry now and holding and flying the flag for Coventry. And I think you're a great inspiration to many amateur boxers, young amateur boxers, I'm sure professional boxers in the area as well. can see the great things that you're doing. But what would be some advice that you would give to, say, young up and coming amateur boxers or boxers that have aspirations in the professional game to follow a similar path to yourself? What would be some advice that you might give?
Advice to just anyone boxing, or
so somebody who's trying to get in the kind of upward trajectory in their boxing career, whether they're early on in their amateur career or early on in their kind of professional career.
I'd say you've got to do the championships,
Yeah.
Test yourself. It sounds far away, or championships, but you never know, you might be good enough, and you've got to go in them, see where you're at. And I think the England route's a great route to go down, because it can really, you then can box internationally, and you're learning on the craft, and it doesn't matter whether you win or lose. A lot of kids go pro early, but professional game's a hard game if you haven't got a promoter.
Yeah.
I'd say go get your experience in the amateurs, even stay till you're 24, 25, win some, lose some, and learn on the job, and that will really help your professional career. That's what I think anyway. I think that's done me good. And I'd say try the amateur route and just keep boxing any style you can, and keep just trying to win, obviously, and just
get that experience.
Yeah, train hard. And I always say to lads, just enjoy training. If you don't enjoy it, it's the wrong sport.
Do you know what? That's a very good point that you said that, because I can tell that you've just got so much love for the sport from a very young age. You saw people sparring, you wanted to spar. And like we spoke a little bit, obviously we were both at Cov Boys. I think I got to that age where I had two different paths to go down. I think, again, I did love the sport, but I don't think I dealt with the pressure. I was putting too much pressure on myself. Like, you have to get this goal out. It's not good enough for that goal. And it's got to a point where it stopped me enjoying the sport how I used to, initially, for the whole kind of reason that I was doing the sport kind of week in, week out. So, that's a very good point. You have got to enjoy what you're doing, right? As much as you kind of set goals for yourself and stuff, you've got to learn to kind of thrive and overcome the obstacles along the way, right?
Yeah, 100%. Enjoy it. And I've been guilty of it, not enjoying it. But you've got to enjoy what you're doing, and it's hard to enjoy because it's such a hard sport, isn't it? You know yourself, it's a nerve-wracking sport. It's hard to enjoy a nerve-wracking moment.
I think that's why it's one of the most admirable sports, boxing, because as much as you're saying you're very grateful for where you're on the moment, you've worked a hell of a lot. You've had to be in some very tough fights. It doesn't come easy. No. Which anybody who's getting into this sport, that's probably one thing, right? They need to be prepared to put in a hell of a lot of work,
a lot of time,
because there's no corners that can be cut as soon as you're in the ring with someone else in the opposite corner, right?
And that's just you and them, isn't it? It's just you and them. And you do, for all the success I've had, you forget about all the missed birthdays. But I'm happy to do that. I love the highs I get from it. But it's, if you want to get to a level, say my level or further or any level, you have to put in the hours. It's such a hard sport, and I've missed so many things. But I wouldn't say I've missed them because I've got my own. I'm happy to be selfish and
you're doing main character stuff, so to speak, aren't you? Right?
Because you're the main character. You and that guy are you're the center of attention. So
you've got your own story to write, I think, and mate, it's admirable what you're doing. I don't think it will be anything that you've kind of missed. I think it's all going towards obviously the goals that you want to achieve, right? And sometimes there do have to be sacrifices along the way. So no, that's awesome. So obviously we spoke about the best advice you would give. What's the best advice you've received, do you think, since your time in boxing? It'll be Shiney, Eddie Hearn.
All the greats. What's the best information I've received?
Yeah, a little bit of information, a little bit of advice, whether it be going into a fight or in the amateurs, if you dinner.
You get so many little bits, and I try to take little bits from everyone. Trying to think.
Maybe that's what it is then. It's a case of taking the bits of advice from
being a sponge, and took a lot of, I've been to Cuba training for a month and picking up tips from there to better myself. I've been to Miami in a training camp, picking up bits of this, bits of that, and watching podcasts and YouTube videos and hearing little tips and this and that, and just try making myself happy. What do I understanding myself? Because I used to hear you versus you, never really understood it until I've realised it's me. But you know,
I was the same. Whenever you
never
never
really get
really
it.
process
Yeah.
it, do you? Until you really, as you get older.
Now I'm really like, I want to be a world champion, but do I want to stretch in the morning? Not really. Do I want to do my ice bath in the morning? Not really. But I'm learning to defeat the thing in me that's, I leave that, will just sit on my phone for an hour, you know, because that's what's stopping me. It's no one else. So I get up in the morning, I do my stretching. I don't want to do it. I don't want to do my ice bath, but I do it. So I'm learning to defeat myself, you know, the demons in, you know.
Yeah.
So I'm really sort of turning that. And I think the injury might have done that good. You know, I had to really understand myself. And whereas before, it was always on a momentum and, yeah, I can do this, I can do that. So the advice I've got is now I'm soaking little bits, remembering this and that. But I always remember hearing, like, you got to enjoy it. And that's such a cliche thing to say, but I try to enjoy every little thing, a sparring session. It's hard. It's not hard. It's hard to enjoy at the time. But, you know, when I come away, I think, try to tick off a few little positives and stuff. So
I like that.
Trying to really enjoy it, and me saying enjoy it is hard to just enjoy it, but I think that it's a key thing. Is you've got to just relax and enjoy it, and don't look to the future too much. Don't look at your past too much. Just be in the present. Yeah, and appreciate.
really like
enjoy your training, and if you don't enjoy it, have a night off, and you know, do you know what I'm saying?
And go again. Reset. Go again.
Pressure. You know. Well, I didn't do well tonight. What can I do better tomorrow?
Yeah.
But it is a tough sport, and you got to try and enjoy every little minute.
No, that's awesome. I absolutely love that mindset, especially the you versus you and how you've learnt to kind of defeat yourself. Absolutely love that. That's really good. We're coming to the end of the podcast now, but a couple of quick rapid fire questions. Who would you say your dream opponent would be? Past and present.
I'd like to fight. I would have, or like in a dream world, Mickey Ward.
Do you know what? I knew you were going to say.
Probably a horrible
Ward
fight.
or Gatti, I thought you were going to say.
Probably a horrible fight. I probably would regret saying that.
I think you just want to stand there and mix it with him for 12 rounds, right?
The way they went at it, that'd be just a dream fight.
Yeah, Mickey Ward.
I probably, like I say, I wouldn't like to actually fight him, but I think that would be a cool fight, you know. Dig for digging, like that'd be cool.
I'm sure you would have held your own. Favourite boxing movie?
Favourite boxing movie? It's got to be Rocky.
Rocky, I like that. You've gone with the old school, not Creed.
Put that on before. Nah, not Creed. I like Creed, but I'll put Rocky on before. I like to watch Rocky a night or two before my fights. Because, you know, even non-boxers get up for, everyone gets up for a fight after watching Rocky. So
that's
I'll go with Rocky.
And finally, favourite fighter to watch, past and present?
Probably Mickey Ward.
Yeah?
Yeah. I like Canelo at the minute.
Yeah.
I think he's class. But Mickey Ward, I just love the way he just in and out, bam, bam. Body shots, I just love the way he fought. And so, yeah, Mickey Ward.
Bet you watched the Ward and Gatti trilogy a few times, right?
Mrs. says, stop watching them fights. Cause
it's such an awesome fight to watch, isn't it? I think it's the first and the third one.
Just
for me,
unbelievable.
the best, I think.
And like, no one was past, they were just both in their prime and both boxing beautifully and just high level fighting.
I think in some ways that trilogy needed no titles, just to it. What they were doing in that moment, like, if you were present for that fight,
just
what a fight to be there
just
for.
Just great
right?
fight and great athletes, like So
without a doubt. But no, that's awesome, mate. But yeah, we've reached the end of the podcast. Thank you for coming on, Aaron. Especially, I know you're in training camp right now, right?
Yeah.
Fighting on November 30th, and that's live on DAZN, right? For anybody who won't be able to make the fight, but they can watch it on DAZN.
Yeah, you got DAZN, you got YouTube. It'll be on Matchroom's YouTube, which I'll put a link on my Instagram and Facebook. YouTube, DAZN, and I've got tickets if you want to come as well.
Yeah,
So
I think I might have to.
Yeah,
mate. Yeah,
yeah.
no, that's awesome.
yeah, nice one.
Good stuff. So thank you for watching, everyone. So yeah, Aaron said be sure to follow his journey, his fight at the end of November in Resorts World. If you can't make the fight, he'll be fighting live on DAZN. So follow Aaron's journey closely, because I think this is another superstar coming out of Coventry, promoted by Matchroom and Eddie Hearn. So yeah, follow Aaron closely. And yeah, thank you for watching, guys. Take care.